Just a moment before saying goodbye to the outgoing rainy Ethiopian season and welcoming the shiny Ethiopian September, the beginning of a new year, let's recap key macroeconomic moves the nation has undergone over the year. Let's dive into it in a nutshell. Practical economic liberalization, persistently high inflation, dealing with the costs of an internal war, advancing regional economic integration, and joining the new global economic order of significant developing economies. These were some of the key moves and happenings the outgoing Ethiopian year hosted. When it comes to the economic liberalization, a closed-door policy approach is what Ethiopia has long been known for. However, it has recently made bold moves that are altering the long-standing perception. The Ethiopian economy experienced liberalization in practice during the outgoing Ethiopian year. Though the liberalization process had officially begun back in 2018, it proved to be more practical during the outgoing Ethiopian year. The last September was welcomed with the Council of Ministers approving a landmark policy to open up one of the most restricted banking sectors. The decision was regarded as historic, given that the Ethiopian financial sector had been closed to foreign competition since 1974. During the year, the National Bank of Ethiopia finalized drafting the implementing legal frameworks. By permitting foreign investors to hold up to 40% stake in Ethiopian banking sector, the nation has made a bold move. The year also brought practical liberalization moves in the telecom sector. The Safaricom-led consortium, which was awarded the first ever private and foreign license, did officially launch its network and services during the outgoing Ethiopian year. The move was indeed considered meaningful in terms of both liberalization and economic integration. The high-level engagement around the process was considered an indication of Ethiopia's commitment to the economic liberalization and to the regional economic integration.
I want to convey a lot of gratitude to you, Your Excellency, to the great people of Ethiopia for making it possible for our two countries to do business together. Diplomacy is good, but economic diplomacy is better.
Recovery and reconstruction projects. Over the past 3 years, the Ethiopian economy has been referred to as a war economy. The war has serious economic costs in addition to deaths of at least 1 million Ethiopians. But for a longer period of time, the estimated amount of the economic cost incurred had remained a mystery. During the year, the government bit a bullet and estimated the total direct economic cost of the war. As part of the recovery and reconstruction project, the Ministry of Finance revealed in the middle of the year the estimate of the direct economic cost. Accordingly, it was announced that a minimum of $20 billion is required to make the war recovery happen. Time to have a look at one of the serious macroeconomic challenges of the Ethiopian economy: inflation. In fact, inflation has never been uncommon to the Ethiopian economy for a while. An inflation of a double digit has been a given for over a decade, and the more serious version of it has been there since 2017. During these years, inflation has not only been double digit, but also exceeded 20%. And during these 5 years, the inflation rate reached up to 35%. This has made Ethiopia among the top 10 inflationary economies in the world and the third in Africa, behind Sudan and Zimbabwe. Inflation has indeed remained one of the serious macroeconomic challenges to the Ethiopian economy. The outgoing Ethiopian year wasn't an exception in this regard. Inflation persisted as a macroeconomic headache throughout the year. The inflation rate reached up to 35% and 34% respectively in months like December and March. The last couple of months experiencing relatively low rates of up to 29%. A month ago, the National Bank of Ethiopia introduced a new monetary policy approach with the goal of bringing inflation down to 20% by the end of the current fiscal year. The new spirit of Africa, Ethiopian Airlines, has kept flying high in the sky, expanding its market share in the African aviation, including taking share ownerships in other African airlines. Such ownerships include Air Mali, Mozambique Airlines, Zambia Airlines, Guinea Airlines, and Chad Airlines. Similarly, this pride of Africa has managed to acquire a 49% ownership stake in Nigeria Air in the recently concluded Ethiopian year, so as to save the airline that had been run poorly and had gone bankrupt. As a result, the Nigerian government made a decision to form an alliance with local and international investors. It was in this very same month of last year that the Nigerian Aviation Ministry announced its preferred bidder. The preferred bidder was the new spirit of Africa, of course. The move is considered vital in the economic integration of the continent. Finally, the year ended with yet another audacious and surprising move. That is, Ethiopia joining the group of most emerging economies of the world, that is, the BRICS. It came as a surprise for many that among the total of 40 nations that had applied for membership, Ethiopia managed to get selected and be among those 6 additional BRICS members of the group. Ethiopia made it to the list together with the oil-rich countries like Saudi Arabia and Iran. The group, which is considered vital in balancing the world power, is a major exporter of commodities such as oil, gas, and metals, among others. Size of the economy, regional influence, as well as population size are considered important criteria to get acceptance into the group. With a member of 6 countries, the group currently takes 26% share of the global GDP and 40% of the world population. The newly joined nations, including Ethiopia, will increase the group's overall share of global GDP to 30% and its share of the world population to 46%. These were some of the key macroeconomic moves and happenings the outgoing Ethiopian year hosted. It's now time to say goodbye to the Ethiopian 2015 and welcome its 2016 with greater optimism. In Ethiopia, the beginning of the new year has to do with shining and brighter weather with deep yellow flowers blooming in fall. Let it be so in the case of the Ethiopian economy. Happy New Year!